So if we divide percent in two parts, that is per and cent, which means we are dividing something into 100 parts. Okay, so basically a percent is a way of expressing a number as a fraction of 100, right? So this is a way of expressing a number as a fraction of 100, right? And usually this is represented by a sign, this symbol, right? So if I say that X percent, what exactly I mean by this? This means I am dividing X by 100, right? If I write this in a decimal form, so this will be 0.01x or 0.0x. Okay, so if I say 10%, what this mean? 10, this will convert into 1 by 100. So this will be what? This will be 0.1. Okay, so this is just a bit idea what is a percent. Now let's see that how can we calculate a percentage efficiently. For example, if I say you that just find a 15% of 44, how will you find this without using the calculator? What do you think is a quick way to solve this? Anyone?
0.15 into 44.
You are just saying that we divide this by 100, so this will be, and this will be 0.15 into. Instead of doing this, whenever you see such question in which you actually ask to find the percentage, just try to convert that into 10% and 1% first. For example, if we have 44, what is the 10% of 44? If we divide that number by 10, that will be 10%. 44 by 10, this is 4.4. This is 10%. And if I know the 10%, I can also know the 5%, that is half of this, which will be 2.2. So what is 15%? That is 4.4 and 2.2. Just some days, this will be 6.6, right? So if you're asked to, remember in exam, in most of the cases, you will ask to approximate. You don't need the exact value. So whenever you see the percentage question, always try to convert those in form of 10% and 1%. And if you know both of these, you can find any percentage. For example, if I say you that, just find the 22% of 120. What is 22% of 120? Quickly.
$26.
26. Okay, I'm asking 22%. Okay, so first of all, what is the 10% of 120?
12.
That is 12. So what is the 20%? That is double of this. That is 2 into 12, which is 24, right? Okay, so now what is 1%?
1.2. Sorry, 2.2.
2.2 or 1.2?
1.2.
So what is 2%? What is 2%?
2.4.
2.4, right? So now can you tell what is 22%?
26.4.
26.4. Just add these two, 24 plus 2.4, which is 26.4. So whenever I will repeat it, whenever you see such question, always try to convert that into 10% and 1%. You can solve any percentage of any number if you just follow the 10%, 1% rule. Otherwise, if I do other way, you will do that 22 over 100. Then you will do this way. This will waste your time. And using calculator is very much slow process in exam. So try to avoid calculator and try to do this mental math of 10%, 1%. So even understand what I said? If yes, then I will proceed further. let me give you a question. For example, if I say, what percent of 75 is 25? Just give me the answer. I'm saying what percent of 75 is 25?
33.33.
Yes, 23.33. So if I say that, if I try to write this in form of equation, how can I write this? What percent of x, I call that x, right? What percent of 75 is equal to 25, right? So this will be x percent is equal to 25 over 75. This will be 1 by 3. And just convert this into 1 by 100 form. This will be 100 is equal to 1 by 3. And this will be 100 over 3, which is 33.3%. Right? Okay. So first thing was that how can we efficiently calculate a percentage? Now, one more question for you. For example, if you have a quantity comparison question, quantity A and quantity B, and quantity A is x percent of y, and quantity B is y percent of x. So what is the answer?
Same. C.
Answer D.
Yes. C, not D. X over 100 into y, and this is y over 100 into x. This is xy by 100, and this is xy by 100. Both are exactly same. And this is pretty much common tested, right? Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so now let's move to the next part. That is percentages as a fraction. And this is a thing all of you must know if you want to just solve a percentage question very quickly. You must know that how to convert a percentage into fraction. And let me just give you common percentages which is really asked. For example, what is 20% in fraction form?
1 by
1 by
5.
5, right? And what is 40%? What is 60%? What is 80%? Be quick.
2 by 5, 3 by 5.
2 by 5, 3 by 5, and 4
4
by
by
5.
5.
Okay, so what is 25%?
1 by 4.
1 by 4. What is 75%?
3 by 4.
3 by 4. Okay, so what is 33.3%?
1/3.
What is 66.67% or 7%?
2 by
2 by
2 by 3. Okay, so next one is what is 16.67%?
1 by 6.
1 by 6, exactly. And what is 12.5%? This is pretty
1
much
by 8. 1 by 8.
And one is 11.1%.
1 by 9.
1 by 9. And the last one is, what is 9.09%?
11. 1 by 11.
1 by 11, right? And this is pretty much common. 10% is what? 10% is 1 by 10. Okay, so these are pretty much common percentages which are usually asked. So you must know that how can we just transform these into fraction. Just by making them into fraction, our task will be a bit easy. For example, if I now, if all of you know this, if I just quickly go with the question that 25% of 40 is what? This is 1 by 4.
10.
1 by 4 of 40 is 10, right? If you already know that what is this in a fraction form, you can quickly solve any percentage. For example, if I say that what is 11.1% of 99? So that will be 1 by 9 into 99, which is 11. And usually you will ask those percentages which you can convert. And if you are asked any other percentage, you can just use the rule of simple 10% and 1%. Okay, so vice versa, same thing could be asked in inverse. If you are given the fractions and you want to convert those into percentage, now you can do that. For example, we have 2/5. What is this in percentage?
40%.
Yeah, exactly 40%. Just multiply and divide by 100. This will become percent, the symbol of percent, and this will be just 40%, right? Okay. Now the next very important thing is percent change. And when we heard the word change, this could be increase as well as decrease, right? Okay, so basically percentage change is equal to change, whatever the change is, over initial value into 100, because it's a percentage. Okay, the first one is percentage increase. And that will be whatever the increase is divided by initial value or old value multiplied by 100, right? For example, if I say that if a number is, if a value is increased from 80 to 100, so what will be the percentage increase? Whatever the percentage,
25%.
25%.
25. What is the change? 20. What is the initial value? 80 into 100. This is 1/4 into 100, which is actually 25%, right? So the next thing is percentage decrease. Again, this will be whatever the decrease is divided by initial value into 100. So if I take same case, if a value is decreased from 100 to 80, so what will be the percentage decrease of that value?
20%.
Yeah, what is the change? That is 20. 20, what is the initial value? 100 into 100. So this is 20%, right? Okay, so this is one way of testing the percentage change. Now, if I say that, now the next concept is about the multiplier. Okay, so if I say that I have a number X, and if I want to increase this number by 20%, right? How can I do that? So if I want to increase same number by 20%, I'm adding 20% of same number in this number. So this will be, this will be X plus 0.2X, right? So this will be 1.2X, right? This is a multiplier when we are adding 20% of that number. And if instead of doing this in the decimal form, just whenever you see such question, always convert that into quickly into fraction. This is X plus what is 20? 1/5X, right? So this will be just a X common. This is 1 plus 1/5, and this is 6/5X. It is always better idea to convert that into fraction instead of converting it to decimal, right? Okay, so for example, I again giving a simple example. I have 100, and if I want to increase this number by 20%, what is the next value? I'm increasing this value by 20%.
120.
120, right? So this will be 100 plus 20% of 100. That will be 100 plus 1/5 of 100. Just take 100 common, and rest one is 6/5, and this is 20 into 6, which is 120, right? And question could be asked in inverse that what is the number when you add 20% in that, the result is 120. That you can do for that case as well. Okay, so next thing, in this case, we are just adding. Now see the opposite case, if we are subtracting, right? Again, we have a number X and we are just decreasing that number by 20%. Again, by using the fraction form, this is X minus 1/5X. If you take X common, this will be 1 minus 1/5. This will be X into 4 by 5 of x. This is actually 80%, right? We are just decreasing the 20%, so result is 80% of x. Okay, now again, if I ask you a question that I have a number, for example, I have a number 100, and if I decrease that number by 60%, what is the value?
40.
Yeah, exactly 40. Okay, so one very common mistake which students usually do, that these are totally separate things. If I say question x is what percent of y, or if I say that x is what percent greater than y, right? For example, if I consider x is 300 and y is 100, likewise x is 300 and y is 100. So what is the answer to this part?
300%.
300%. X over y into 100 is equal to 300 over 100 into 100, which is 300%. And what is the answer for this?
200%.
200%, right? So what is the change? 300 minus 100, that is 200. What is the value of y? 100 into 100, that is 200%. So just keep in mind, these are separate cases, and GRE loves to play with the words, so be cautious of that. Okay, so this was about the percent change. Now next thing is about the sequential percent change. And this is pretty much tested concept of the percentage. Okay, so whenever you see what exactly meant by the word sequential percentage, that the percentage increase or decrease is occurring in a sequence. For example, if I have a, let's suppose x, and at first I'm increasing this by, let's suppose 20%, right? And 20% of whatever this value, this will be 6 by 5 of x. Now I am again increasing this value, this result, by again 20%, right? So this is just idea that we are just increasing or decreasing in a sequence. Let me give you an example instead of this. Okay, for example, if I said that I have a number 100, and at first we are increasing this number by 20%. What is the answer? At first we are increasing by 20%. This will be 120. Now I am decreasing this value by 20%. What is the answer?
96.
96. So just keep in mind that this is a common mistake, that if a person see that we are increasing a number by 20% and decreasing that number by 20, the result will not be the same. Likewise, inverse, if I decreasing the number, let's suppose I have 100, and if I decreasing this by 20%, what is the answer? That is 80. And if I increase this by 20%, what is the answer?
96.
96. So this is not again 100, right? So when you are having a percent change in sequence, so this is not possible that you get a same value after 2. And for example, is any one of you know the shortcut formula to do this for the sequential change for 2 or 3? There's a shortcut way for this that is very helpful. But first, okay, so let's take one more example. No, let's straightforward jump to the shortcut. We will see 3 cases in which first we are increasing with the percent, and then again we are increasing. First we are decreasing, then we are again decreasing, and last we are increasing, then decreasing, are decreasing, then increasing. So for example, if I say that I have an, if I increase a number, any number, by first by X% and then increase that number afterwards by Y%, right? In the second scenario, I think decreasing first by X% and then decreasing the final value by Y%. And the third scenario is I'm increasing the first by X% and decreasing that value by Y%, right? So the overall percentage change in first scenario, let's call this first scenario, that will be X plus Y plus XY over 100%. For example, if I have 100 and at first let X is equal to 20, I'm increasing by 20%. What is the value? That is 120. Now I am decreasing by 10%. What is the value?
108.
108. Or not decreasing, sorry, I'm increasing. Yeah, if I increase by 10%, what is the value?
32.
132. So actually, what is the percentage change here? That is 32 over 100. 200. That is, we have increase of 32% overall, right? Now let's see the formula. In this formula, we have, in place of 10, we have X, we have 20, Y, we have 10, and 20 into 10 by 100. This will be 30 plus 200 over 100. And that will be 32%. This is whole percent. But this is first formula in which we are increasing both in the sequence, right? So just remember this formula. This will literally help you in solving such questions. This is first when we are increasing in both cases. Now the second one is in which we are first decreasing and after again decreasing. So formula for that is minus X minus Y plus minus X into minus Y over 100%, which is in result minus X minus Y plus XY over 100. And again, taking this very simple example, I have 100. If I decrease that by 20%, so what is the answer? 80. And if I decrease that by 10%, what is the answer? That is 72. So what is the percentage change?
28.
That is 28. Right. Now let's see the formula. We have X minus 20 by minus 10 plus minus 20 into minus 10 divided by 100. Right. So this will be minus 30 plus 200 over 100, which is minus 28. So we are having a percentage decrease of 28%. The second scenario. And the last scenario is when we are having one increment and one decrease, right? So that will be very simple, X minus Y minus XY over 100%. So just take the example, we have 100. And if we just increase the value by 20%, what is the answer? That is 120. And if I decrease this by 10%, so what is the value? 108, right? Now let's see the formula. We have in place of X, we have 20 minus 10 minus 20 into 10 by 100. This will be 10 minus 2. That will be 8% decrease. 8% increase, right? So these are three basic formula when you are having a sequential increase, when both are increased, when both are decreasing, or when one is decreasing and one is decreasing, right? You can do this for any length. And for example, if you have sequential increase for 3, right? Let's suppose you have X, Y, and Z. First do for X and Y, whatever result you got, just do that and Z afterwards, right? But if you're having a more than 2, this formula is not recommended. Just go with the fraction cases and that's all. The next thing is about one more concept, and then we'll move to the question part. That is about profit and loss. before getting into this, there are basically two terms. One is selling price and one is cost price. These are two common terms. There may be some other terms as well. The one is retail price, wholesale price, but whenever you see that in question, that will be clearly mentioned exactly what is that thing. One thing is selling price and one thing is cost price. What is a selling price and what is a cost price? Cost price is, let's suppose, if I bought an item for 100, right, that will be cost price for me. And if I sell that further at 120, that will be selling price, right? So you must know these two first. Now the next thing is profit. When we get a profit, when we are selling an item at a higher price, then what exactly I get for that? That will be selling price minus cost price. And in this scenario, selling price is greater than cost price. The next thing is loss, and that is at least cost price minus selling price. And in this scenario, our selling price is less than cost price. And the last thing is about the percentage profit or percentage loss. So if I say a percentage profit, so in the numerator, for the profit case, we have selling price minus cost price. And for the loss case, we have cost price minus selling price. So what will be denominator in both of the cases? Anyone? If we are calculating a percentage loss and a percentage profit, what will be denominator in that case? Yeah, that will be cost price, because that is based on what I actually gave for getting that thing. So just remember this, always while finding the percentage profit or percentage loss, divide that with the cost price unless mentioned. Okay, and profit multiplied by 100, right? Okay, so this is just a bit idea of profit and cost. And one last thing, and then we'll proceed to the question. I will just show you that how the ETS just craft a question regarding the percentage. I will just, it will be a counting comparison question. And a question is that of all students in a class, 75% choose physics as a subject. And of those students who choose physics as a subject, 75% are less than 16-year age. I'll repeat that. Of all the students in a class, 75% choose physics as a subject. And of all those students who choose physics as a subject, 75% are less than 16-year age, right? Quantity A is, and quantity B. Quantity A is the percent of all students having age less than 16, and for example, this is 60%. Now tell what is the answer to this question. I repeat, of all students in a class, 75% choose physics as a subject, and of all those students who choose physics as a subject, 75% are less than 16-year age. The quantity A is the percent of all students having age less than 16, and quantity B is 60%. D. Any other answer? This is typical way of testing a percentage concept of the ETS. If you see closely, we are given that of all students in a class, 75% choose physics. Okay, for example, if I just consider that there are 100 students in class, in such cases, instead of going with variable, quickly assume some value, some smart number, so that you can proceed very quickly. We are given that of all the students in a class. So in this scenario, I can assume any value. For example, if I assume 100, let total student be 100. Out of 100 students, 75% choose physics as a subject. Okay, so for physics, there are 75 students, and whatever the other subjects are, there are 25 students. The next thing is, of all the students who choose physics, in these 75% of physics students are less than 16-year-old, and those will be greater than or equal to 16, and these are 75% of 75. What is 75% of 75? Rough, just give me a rough approximation instead of using calculator.
Yep, 51, 52.
That will be how can you do this? Approximate this. We have 75% of 75. So what is 75%? That is 3 by 4 of 75. So what is the close multiple of 4 less than or greater than 75?
76.
76. So that is
That
3
is
by
20.
4 into 76. And what is the value if we multiply 4, 16 and 16 3s? This is 16.
19.
No, 19.
19 and 19 3s?
57.
57.
Yeah.
So that value must be a bit closer to 57, though a less than, but a bit closer, right? So when asked to approximate, just see the multiple of the just see the multiple of the this value which is closer to the upper value. Okay, so this will be something around 57, right? But and the rest are greater than or equal to 16. Now see the question. The question is saying the percentage of all students. This is a way of just putting a trap that someone can easily miss this word and just assume that the question is saying about the physics students, and then yeah, he can say that quantity B is greater. But the question is about the percentage of all students. So we are sure that around 57 students, right? Around 57 students are less than 16-year-old out of 75, but we don't know about these 25. All of these could be less than 16, all of these could be greater than 16. So in one scenario, our answer could be greater than the 60%, and other scenario is less than 60%. That's why the answer to this question is D. Everyone's with me? So in percentage question, always see what is the reference of percentage, whether that is some portion or as a whole. And same thing is tested commonly in the data interpretation questions. And most of us just get that question wrong just by missing one word, right? Okay, shall I move forward now? Okay, so let's move to the question. Let's just solve this question now. And yes, there is one more thing in the percentage, that is interest part. And we will see the interest part in the next lecture. For now, just solve this question.
B.
What is the answer?
B.
B or D?
B for
B.
yeah.
So I'm little bit confused here. So in quantity B, it is 80% or 80 only?
80%.
80% of what?
Just find the value of A. What is the Y? C is Y percent greater. Whatever you get for A, that is also in percentage, so that you can compare both of these. Okay.
Sorry. I get it.
Yeah, just see the question now. We have A is 20% greater than B, and same A is 30% less than C. Okay, so one way is just to use the decimal. We have, I'm just assuming that all of you are now familiar with the multiplier and decimal concept. And I will quickly solve these with the fraction part, right? The first thing is A is 20% greater than B. A is 20% greater than B. How can I write that in the fraction part, fraction form? 6/5 of B. That is B plus 20% of B, which is 1 plus 1/5 of B, and that add up to 6/5 of B, right? So first thing, A is 6/5 of B. The next thing is A is also 30% less than B. So A is also, how can I write that thing? 70%. If one thing is 30%, that's out of 100. So result will be 70% of C, which is 7/10 of C. Now we have 6/5 of B and 7/10 of C. Both is A, right? Now just tell me one thing. If I do this way, that B is equal to 5/6 of A and C is equal to 10/7 of A. Now you can do it both ways. You can just take A as it is and just proceed further. Then the other way is just assume some value for A. So what is the ideal way for assuming value in this scenario? What is the
Multiple of 6 and 7.
Yeah, the minimum least count multiple of 6 and 7, right? So what is the LCM of 6 and 7?
42.
42. So just assume A is 42. So B will be 5 into 7, 35, and C will be 10 into 6, 60. The question is saying C is Y percent greater than B, right? So first as C is what percent greater than B? So what is the change? That is 60 minus 35 over 35 into 100. And that is 25/35, right? Now we have 25/35 here. And if I just keep that in fraction, that will be 5/7. And if I just convert this into fraction, that will be 4/5. Now just quickly, you can quickly compare this. One is 5/7, one is 4/5. And I told you that whenever you want to compare to fraction, just cross multiply. This will be 25 and this will be 28. This side is greater. That's why quantity B is greater. This thing is greater. I even got this.
Can you repeat? Can you repeat?
Which part?
Have you got first one A equals 6/5 B in the starting?
Okay. The question is that if I say that I have a X and I am increasing there by 20%. So I'm adding 20% in that. So what is the result? That will be actually 120% of X, because 100% is what is 1, right? So what is 120%? That is 1.2, which is in fraction form 6/5. And if you just want to see in the fraction form, we have X plus 20% of X. and this is x plus 20% fraction is 1 by 5 of x. So just take x common. This will be 1 plus 1 over 5. This will be x into 6 by 5. And 6 by 5 is 120%. Getting the point? You need to learn about the fractions, conversion of percentages into fraction and vice versa if you want to perform well in these type of questions. Otherwise, if you just go with the decimals, you will literally waste your time. Shall I move forward now?
No, please, can you repeat?
Which part?
When you said A is 20, 40, 20,
A is?
42.
Okay, that part. We have B is equal to 5 by 6 of A and C is equal to 10 by 7 of A, right? At that point. Now I want to assume such value of A so that the value of B and the value of C are integer. How can I do that? If I have such value of A so that that is divisible by 6 as well as for 7 as well. Only in that scenario, I could have an integer value for B and integer value for A or for C. That's why I just assume a value of A that is a least count multiple of 6 and 7. Just take any value of A, but just keep in mind that is a multiple of 6 as well as 7. So that if I divide in this scenario, it is divisible by 6. If I divide in this scenario, that is divisible by 7. So that we have integer value for B and integer value for C. So I assume the minimum, such minimum value is a least count multiple of 6 and 7, which is 42. So that when we have 42 here, that is divisible by 6, and the result came out to be 35. And we take 42 here, that is divisible by 7, and result came out to be 60. That's why I just take 42 in this scenario. Got the point?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what's the answer to this question? Just by saying, just quickly tell what is the answer to this.
What is the difference between x percent of y and x percent of y? The same thing, right?
No. First, just solve this question. I've explained that part. But what is the answer, do you think? C? Okay. Which is a wrong answer. The thing is, x percent of y and x percent of y is different thing. This is xy by 100, but this is y by x into 100. When you have the th on any variable and take the percent, that is actually 1 over that value, the reciprocal of that value. If I say 8% of 100, let's suppose, so this will be 1 by a% of 100 in short. So in this scenario, we have 1 by x percent of y, first thing, and second thing is x into y over 100, right? So this will be y over 100x, and this will be xy by 100. This will cancel out. This will cancel out, and we have 1 over x and x. So based on this, these two scenarios, we cannot tell that whether quantity A is greater or quantity B is greater. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try this question.
C.
So you are saying C?
Yeah, C.
Okay. Anyone else who is still solving, or shall I solve now? All of you should solve with me. Otherwise, you won't get
B.
B.
Yeah.
A,
B. Not
B.
D. B. 100%.
But instead of taking asking B, just say beta, delta. So that's why I got a little bit confusion about B and D in pronunciation. Okay. Shall I solve now? Now see, the number X is 200% of Y. What is meant by this?
2y.
2Y. Next thing, if Z is increased by 200%, how can I write this thing? If I'm increasing a number by 200%, this means I'm just tripling that number. The result is 50% of X. And what is 50% in fraction form? 1/2.
Sorry, answer is E. 330%. 33%.
Okay, just wait. So first thing is X is 200% of Y. And next thing is if I increase Z by 200%, this means 3Z is equal to 50% of X, which is 1/2 of X. Okay, now what percent of Z is Y? Okay, so how can I proceed from this further?
In place of X, replace 2y.
Yeah, this is X into 2Y, and this is 6Z is equal to X. Now just equate both of these. This will be 2Y is equal to 6Z, and this will be Y is equal to 3Z. Now see, question saying what percent of X? So in denominator, we what percent of Z? In denominator, we will have Z is Y, right? So Y into Z is equal to 3. Now we are finding the percentage, right? So just multiply and divide by 100. This will be 300%, not 200 or 333. Got the point?
How could you find that's 33Z?
What percent of Z? We are taking a reference. Z is Y.
So how do you interpret that number of Z increased by 200%? How come do you use 3Z there?
Okay. So if I say that, for example, okay, let's do this way. If I Z, I am increasing this by 200%, right? Z adding in this 200% of Z. That will be Z plus 2Z, which is 3Z.
Okay, got it.
Got the
Thank
point?
you. Yes,
If you are
thank you. Got
confused
it.
in this, just think this way. If you are increasing a number by 100%, what this mean? You are doubling that number. So if you are increased by the 200, that will be 3 times. If you increase by 300 times, that will be 4 times. Think this way, right?
Okay, I think that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Just leave this question and solve this later. Okay, try this question. Again, try to solve this using fraction conversion of the percentage into fraction instead of using the percentages as it is, right? Just solve this. Okay, so what's the answer to this question?
D.
C.
C.
Okay, so we have C and D. Any other answer? Okay, so let's try to think of these in terms of the fraction. The population of small beach town on Australia East grew by 50% from May to June. May 1 to June 1. We have first May and then we have June. And let's suppose we have at start we have some value X and that increased by 50%, right? So what can I write for increment of 50% in terms of fraction? Anyone?
1/2.
3/2.
Yeah.
We have X plus 50% of X. That is X plus 1/2X. X into 1 plus 1/2. That is 3/2X, right? Okay. Now the question is saying, and then grows by another 50%, right? So this value, now July, okay. We have this value, right? And this value is increased by another 50%. So again, we multiply with 3/2, right? This is what we got from June. And we are having again 50% of increment, which is shown by 3/2. Now the next part. Next question is saying the population is decreased by 11.1%. How can I write this thing? 11.1% decrease.
1/9.
1/9 is, yeah, 11.1%. How can I show the decrease of that? What is the
200 by
multiplier
9.
for that? What by 9? We,
Minus 1/9.
100 by 9.
that will be 1 minus 1 by 9, right? That will be 8 by 9. That will be increment, that will be the multiplier when we are decreasing by 11.1%. So we have this value until August, that is 3/2 into 3/2x, and we are just decreasing this by 11.1%. So the multiplier for this will be 8/9. Yes? Are you getting my point? What I'm doing here? This might seem a bit difficult at first, but if you start thinking and solving this way, you can solve the percentage question in few seconds, right? Okay, so everything is understood till now. Please let me know if you are confused in any part. Okay, so at start we have X, and at last we have 3/2 into 3/2 and into 8/9 of X. Okay, so 3 into 3 into 9, this will cancel out. 2 into 2, 4, and 4 2s are 8. So this will be 2x. At start we have X, and in last month we have 2x. So what is the increase from first month to last month? What is the increase?
100%.
Yes. That's why the answer this is C. So these are understood by everyone, right? There's one more question. Just solve that and just solve using this fraction form. So that question, you will just clear all of your doubt if you're still having any doubt. Okay, yeah, just solve this question and try to solve this using the fractions, conversion of percentages into fractions instead of using the decimals, right? Just solve this.
A.
Yeah, A.
Okay, so someone is saying the answer is A. Any other answer? No one. Now let's see and try to solve this using the fraction part. Okay, the question is saying that last year, the price of crude oil in the global market was 20% greater in February than in January. What is January than February? And let's again, this is X and this is 20% greater. So what is the multiplier for that in terms of fraction? That will be that will be 6 by 5x, right? I even understand why I write 6 by 5 here, because of 60%, 20% increase from January to February. Now the next thing is there is 25% decrease from February to March. And how can I write this thing 6 by 5 of x? And how can I write a 25% decrease? That is 3 by 4. Everyone is getting my point, right? Because if no one will answer what I'm saying, then I will proceed whatever I'm doing. Okay. Then afterward, there is a 55.5% decrease. How can I write a 55.5% decrease? First, simplify this. We have 6 by 5 into 3 by 4. So this will be 2. This will be 3. So this will be 9 by 5. This is 9 by 5x, right?
9 by 10.
9 by 10, yes, 9 by 10. 9 by 10x. Now there is a decrease of 55.5%. And for next month, which is April, we have 9 by 10x. And if I write this for easiness, 1 minus 5 by 9, because 1 over 9 is 11.1. And when we multiply that will 5, that will be 55.5. So what will be this value? This will be 9 by 10 into 4 by 9 of x. So 9 will cancel out. And this is 2, this is 5. So this will be 2 by 5x till April, right? And after that, there is a 25% increase. So in May, we have 25% increase. This is from last, and 25% increase is what? That is 5 by 4, which is 1 plus 1 by 4. So that will be 5 by 4. So this will cancel out, and this will be 1 by 2 of x. And last, saying that there is a 100% increase in the value with respect to May. So in June, this value become double. So 2 into 1 by 2 of x, which is equal to x. So in first month we have x, in last month we have x. So there is no percentage change or change in any value. That's why the answer of this is A. So everyone got this?
Yes.
Okay.
In April, how would we find the 5.5/9?
5 by 9.
50%.
Listen, if you know that 1/9 is 11.1%, I told you that you should remember this. Then you can find 55.5%, 66.6%. Because if you multiply this with any value, if you multiply this with 2, that's with 22.2, 4, 3, 33.3. So that is very well much clear from this that 55.5 is actually 5 into 11.1%. And that is 5 into 1/9, which is 5 by 9. Right? So always try to do these in form of fraction while dealing with the percentage question, right? Okay, so let's move forward. Yeah, so now tell me how to solve this and try to visualize instead of solving. Just quickly tell what is the answer to this question. We have discussed this thing earlier.
A.
Okay, so someone is saying is A. Anyone else? B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, B. The
Yeah,
percentage
the answer
increase.
is B. Yes. Now see, the question is saying that the price of certain item in inventory increases by 40%. So in this, in such scenario, it is better to assume a value because there is no solid value given. So for this scenario, if I assume 100 as initial value, initial price, and there is increase by 40%. So what will be the value by 40% increase? That will be 140, right? Now the question, after some time, there is a discount of 8% and the price will go down to the original amount. So if I want this to be go back to the original amount 100, what will be the percent change? Exactly right. So what should be the percentage change? What will be A value?
40%.
So that will be, what is the difference? 40. And what is our reference now? 140 into 100. What is this value? 2 by 7 into 100. What is this value? This is something less than 30%, right? You can use
Yeah,
calculator for this.
28.
Okay, 28 point something, right? This is A% and B is 40%. The trap in this question that if you assume this as 100, then you will get C. But remember, you have already increased a value and now you are decreasing that value, not the original value. That's why this will be A will be very less as compared to 40, right? Because our values increase. In other scenario, if I have a value less than 100, in that scenario, we could have a greater, what can I say, greater percentage of A. But in this scenario, our values increase. And that's why we are taking percentage out of that. That's why the A is very less. So everyone got this? This is a usual way of asking the question regarding the sequential increase. Okay, so there is one more question relevant to this, and we are very much slow. Okay, just be quick. What is the answer to this?
B.
You're saying B?
Yeah.
Okay.
B. beta.
Yeah. Okay. We have an inventory item is discounted by X% and subsequently the discounted price is increased by X%, right? So assuming 100 initial value and we are decreasing by 10%, for example, this will be 90. And if we increase by 10%, this will be 99, which is less than 100, right? I told you earlier that if we decrease by some amount and increase by same percentage, the result will never be the same what it is earlier. That will be less than that. That's why the answer to this question is B. You can also solve this by the formula that at first we are discounted by X% minus X, increasing by that plus minus X into X by 100. This will cancel out. So this will be minus X square by 100% of decrease. So whatever the value of 100 you assume, this percent will be the decrease in the actual amount. So you can clearly see that the actual amount will be, the final amount will be less than the actual amount, right? So in both ways, you can get a value that quantity B is greater. All right. Okay. Just leave this. The number of bananas harvested in 2000 was the integer X. Okay, so in 2000 we have X. In 2001, the number of bananas harvested grew by 150%. Okay, so how can I write 150% in form of fraction? Anyone?
5x/2.
5 by 2.
Yes.
Right? And the last thing is in 2002, the number of banana harvested grew by 400% from year 2000. Right? Just keep in mind now for 2002, we are taking reference 2000, not 2001. And it grew by 4,000%. This means that that value is
6x.
6x or 5x or 5x. Not 6x, but 5x.
5x, sorry.
Plus 4x.
Right? Okay, so based on these, what could be the very simple value of x I can assume? If I assume x as 2, this will become 5, and this will become 10, and this will become 2. Right? Now the question is saying, what was the percentage growth in the number of bananas harvested from 2001 to 2002? Right? Okay, so from 2001 to 2002, that will be 10 minus 5 over 5 into 100. That will be what value? 5 over 5 into 100.